Hi. So for our lab, we are going to be using Vernier sensors. And for this lab, we're going to be using an oxygen sensor. This is what it looks like. It is going to need to be connected to another device. It's called a Go link because we don't have that kind of connection on most of our computers. The Go link has a USB input. So whatever computer you use for this lab will need a USB import. So if you have a MacBook, you'll need to bring a dongle if you don't have a USB port. Okay, so you've downloaded some software from either Google or whatever from Vernier Graphical Analysis. And we're going to use that right now. This is what it looks like on a MacBook. It should look fairly similar to what you see on a Chromebook, but pretty basic interface. A couple things to keep in mind is if we are, as we run new experiments, we have, especially if they're a different variable, we should be always starting a new experiment each time. Now, if you're repeating trials, it's good to have them actually as the same experiment, and I'll show you how you can do that in a minute. But you can also save these, etc., to your computer or to forward it to your lab partner or whatever. So the Vernier sensors work really great because they can collect data at different time intervals or whatnot. So the way that it works is pretty simple. You press the collect button, and every 1 second, a sample of oxygen gas is being taken from the atmosphere. You can also see what the actual reading is in this bottom corner. That says 20.36%. Now I've let it collect some data for a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and exhale on the sensor so that we can see whether I am indeed an animal or a plant. Okay, I'm an animal. All right. So you can see that because I was exhaling carbon dioxide, the concentration of oxygen in that space was going down because I was exhaling carbon dioxide. So you can see this nice graph. What we can do from here is we can click on this little icon called graph options, and in there it's going to give us a lot of options that we can use. For the most part, we're going to want to use our statistics to help us quickly see standard deviation, etc. It's not really relevant in this because I was changing the condition, but what is going to be really helpful is a linear fit. So we can see what's the line of best fit here. Sometimes it will be linear. Otherwise, it could be a proportional, or I don't have a curve fit. So, all right, so we'll go with that. So we apply that, and then we can see what the estimated slope would be. Now, that is because I let it run for many seconds before exhaling on it. But again, gives us additional data for us. Now, let's see, I wanted to just look at some specific part of this experiment, not the part where I wasn't exhaling on the sensor. So if I click over here, I can click on view options. And when I do this, the data table option appears. This is actually going to show me the exact numbers that were collected at each second interval. And then I could scroll down and say, okay, this is where the change happened, right? It's about 20.36 until time 32 seconds. So if I wanted to do something additional with that data, I can copy that data into a Google spreadsheet and further analyze it. Another option that you have in view is in meters. You can see the exact number as kind of things are happening. I don't prefer to see the meters. I like to see data. The next thing that you will need is to, and here you can see kind of zooming in. So if I click on there, it zooms into just the portion that I actually collected data. Now you'll see that if I go back, oh, it won't let me go back. All right. if I went back to the original view, I had it over 180 seconds. So how did I get there? Well, if I click right here where it says mode, time-based, rate, 1 sample per second, click there, I can change how often I'm collecting data, as well as how long I'm collecting data. For our purposes on this next lab, you're going to want to take 1 sample every second. And you're going to probably have 180 seconds, but we'll see. Some of you might want to collect data a little bit longer, depending on what your independent variable is. So that is essentially the options that we are going to need for this. Anything that you get in this data set, so let's say this is my first sample, right? Well, if I want to run it again and I collect data, it's going to actually zero it out and give me data set 2. So this would be my second trial for the same variable, which is, am I a plant or am I an animal? Okay. So there you go. I am indeed still an animal. From that data, you can compare my first data set to my second data set. So I can copy and paste this into some just kind of richer data analysis tools if I wanted, but generally this is the information that we're going to want. Then once I'm done, I'm going to go ahead and save this, and I'm going to call this business day and animal, and I'm going to save it. Okay, I can also click on it and export it into a PDF or a CSV file, which makes the data part really, really nice for the analysis. And then that's it. Okay, so most of the analysis we're going to do is going to be copying and pasting the data from our data sets and then taking screenshots or saving these graphs. All right, I'll see you soon.